Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on planet Earth. It's the start of a new week here for me in Australia in the future, and my name is Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. We got another fun week of stuff coming up, a mixed bag of stuff. We're starting off where we left off last Thursday with LumaFusion. So last week we looked at LumaFusion and we got to know the basics of how it all works, where all the buttons are, where all the settings are, and all that kind of stuff. And today we're going to try and do something really quickly. We're going to make a horror film called The Car That Drove By. So I'll say hello to people in the chat. G'day Scott. Hello Tom. I hope you're both doing well. Let's jump straight in today and not stuff around too much. We shall slot over here to App Sliced. What's new? What's cheap? There's a few things actually. So Bismarck BS16i has come down in price. US price $7.99 to $3.99. It's something I'm been meaning to check out, and I'm going to buy it today because it's on special. So I'm grabbing that. Also, one of the session band apps is also free to grab if you're into those. I have nearly all of them because they drop free pretty much all the time. And they're normally worth what, $9. So you got Tone Boosters Reverb is also down $1. From $9.99 to $8.99, and all the BLES apps, a whole bunch of them, as you can see, are all down about $2. Except for Alpha Synthesizer, that's down $4. So you've got a fair few apps on sale going on at the moment. So the link to App Sliced, if you want to get the goss and all this, is always in the description of every one of my shows. And I've actually created a link that takes you straight to the price drops of music apps. So I've done a search and I've saved it all for you in that one link. G'day Sion, welcome to the show. Pete, good to see you. Before I jump in, I'm going to do a little bit of a continuation on from Pete's rant today on GarageBand Weekly, and it's about subscriptions, because we're going to be talking about subscriptions in this app again today. Now, I was talking about subscriptions only very recently with my flatmate because I have a crap ton of them. And let's see, I should be able to do this. Don't think any info will come up in my iCloud. Subscriptions. Don't think I need to do FaceTime or there we go. So as you can see, I've got a fair few subscriptions sitting in here. So, and a fair few that I don't use anymore. Like Photoshop and Cordify, and I haven't resubscribed my Apple Arcade, which I'm going to do actually this week. So I have iTunes Match, Apple Music, Strava's a fitness app I use. I got Apple TV for free for a year because I bought a new device. So I use YouTube without ads, Pixaloop, Video Leap, over LumaFusion. But here's the thing, these are all great reminders, but I have a crap ton of other ones which aren't in here, which I don't get reminded about. And luckily, I've got used to where they fall. Like I have a WWE subscription. I have my website subscription every month, which is, $20. All these things add up. And what I was talking about with my flatmate, and seriously, here's the thing. These companies really should message you. It's not like they don't have your info. They have your email address. So really, they should let you know at least a few days before the subscription runs. Pretty easy to set up an automated mail thing. But another thing I would love to see, I would really love to see. Now, I know this is pushing it a bit far, but I would love it if after 3 months, or if you subscribed for a year, and then you decided to move to a monthly model. I think more for the monthly model, because if you've decided to pay for a year, you've made a commitment, so that's done and dusted, right? Hopefully you would get a message definitely at the end of the year, because that can be costly, like especially with something that I'm talking about today with LumaFusion. It's around $100. But for monthly, I would love it if after 3 months' time of you consistently paying each month, they then gave you an option to choose a date to pay moving forward. That would be incredible, because then you would be able to put them all together or around the same time as your actual pay. That would be so helpful. And sure, I wouldn't expect them to do it immediately on your first subscription setup, but after 3 months, you're already showing that you are a loyal subscriber. So give me the option to change the date, especially in these crazy times where, you know, there's so much unemployment and all the crap that's going on with coronavirus. I just think that would be really cool. So that's my rant on subscriptions. As you can see, I have a lot of them, and there's so many more that you can't see that I have. And it costs a lot of money. But, you know, what is your friend in this situation until then? Your friend clearly is this app, your calendars app. It only takes a second to add the date in there, and it's the best workaround for now. And at least you can only blame yourself if it all fucks up. So let's jump into LumaFusion today. We are going to make a horror film today, really quickly. If you don't know LumaFusion, so it's $30 Australian. $30 USD to buy this. It does have a subscription model. And before we jump into it, I want to let you know, for this video, at the end of it, once it's done, while it's going now, if you leave a comment, I'm giving away a full copy of LumaFusion at the end of the week with 1 month subscription to StoryBlocks so you can try it out. And I think I'm not sure with the free 1 month subscription that you get from my prize, if it will auto renew. So if it does, don't come and blame me, because I'll just tell you should have put it in your calendar. So we're going to make a stupid horror film today as fast as we can with LumaFusion. So here we are. Now, if you want to catch up on the previous video I did on this last week, there's a card up above my head right now on the replay, and you can find out where all the knobs. There you go. I said it, knobs. I have to have a drink every time I say knobs and not spill my cup of tea all over my computer. I can give you an update on the tea. I've decided to buy myself an espresso coffee machine this week. So I'm going to be moving up from the tea into the coffee, so expect even more erratic shows coming forward. Let me grab my Apple Pencil. So what we're going to do to open a new project, down the bottom here, let's go to full screen so you can see everything nice and large. Down the bottom here, we want to add a new project down here. So we are going to click on the plus sign, and we're going to name this the title of this horror film I'm making, called The Car That, caps, The Car That Drove By. Because this is going to be a super scary movie where the plot twist is a car will drive by. I know, scary, huh? So what do we want to do first? We actually want to create a title. So let's look at creating a title. So I'm going to now, along the bottom here, you will see this handy dandy little toolbar, and I am going to hit the plus sign here, and you get a bunch of options here. So you can add a voiceover, you can add a blank clip or a title here. And let me just check SM Borthwick. Do you need the subscription to use LumaFusion, or is it an added extra? Actually, you don't. So you pay full price, and you've got LumaFusion to import and create as much as you like. StoryBlocks is the subscription, and it gives you a whole access to their sound effects library, the video library, stock footage library of photos, sound effects, music, and a whole bunch of things like that, which is, you know, and it's massive. So you're going to get to see all that in this video today that I'm making. So now that I've clicked on the plus here, I'm going to create a title. And the other great thing about LumaFusion is you can import your own fonts as well, just like in Over, the photo app that I did in the very first episode of this show. And you can import them into here and have really cool stuff. So you'll see I've got a whole bunch of really cool fonts. Right, so now we want to edit this text. So you'll see it's added a block here into my timeline. And just for fun, I'm going to move that up a layer. Because if you remember from the last episode, this middle strip along here, this is your main timeline. This is what you want to build on top of. So everything above the timeline is video clips and things like your transitions and your text, and everything below the line is sound effects and music. Okay, so I want to put this text above here. Now I'm going to tap on it, and it brings me to this new screen, this whole edit screen. Now across the bottom you have so there's three little sections here. You've got frame and fit, text, and this is where all your color presets, your green screen stuff and effects are all in the third one, and your text options are the middle, and this is all your sizing and positioning around the screen, the first one, frame and fit. So that's pretty standard. That all makes sense. So for what we're going to do first is we're going to edit this text. So I'm going to click on that, and you'll see up, once you click on it, you get this little frame around it so you can change the size and all that, but up the top here is where you would edit your text. So we're going to call this film the car, whoops, I did it again, caps, car that drove by. And that is the title of our film. Now I need to give this, it looks a bit boring with that kind of text. So you will see down the bottom right hand corner, there is this little button here. So there's three buttons here, and there's a T and a T. When I click on that, this brings up all your text options. So just above that, you've got your how you want your text to look, your size. So I'm going to click on the text, and we're going to add this bloodthirsty one. See, as you can see, I've got a whole bunch of really cool ones in here, and you trust me, you get a massive selection of fonts in here already, but I've added a whole bunch, and I still have a whole bunch more to add because it can be time consuming to add the 2,500 fonts I have. So oops, I need to see, I've already made a mistake. You need to select your text before you change your font. Fail. Or nothing happens. So we'll pick that now, and as you can see, that's now changed to a bloody dripping kind of mess. You also can change the color of your text in the next section, the A with a little underline, the solid one, and then you have edge color as the third selection down that bottom right hand corner. So we're going to change the color. That'll do for now. We're going to enlarge that. We're going to make it a bit bigger. The car that drove by. And that is done. So you've got a little done button down the bottom here. And there is our title. And you can move this anywhere around with your finger. You can drag it around anywhere you want. What's also good is over in this, over here in your right hand side of the pane, sorry, you've got all these options to move the text around, to change the size, to change the opacity of it, the face color, your edge color. As you scroll down, there's a whole lot of options that you can get really deep. And as you can see up the top, there's a bunch of presets. So, you know, you can play around with those as well. You can build on top of those. They're really cool as well. You can change the blur of them, the distance, the access. Now, as you can see here, this is really great for centering things as well. So if you think you're off center, you can just drag this slider left and right or up and down. So clearly, once you're back at 0, you're in the center, or 50, I think it is. See if I can get there. And you have on the edge these little arrows for precision. So there we are back in the center. I want to move this up to about there. So there's my text, and then you can go into things like color presets. So you can change the contrast. You can do all these kind of things. You have a whole bunch of effects for using Filmic if you use that app. So all your color pops, whole bunch of, and along the top of each of them, you've got like a inverting, comic style, so many different things. You've got blurs, everything. So we'll leave this how it is with this little fade on each side. And when you add one, if you see to the side here, they pile up in the side like layers. So you can click the I button and remove them, and each one of them has their own set of brightnesses and contrasts. So that's really cool as well. So I can change the radius of this one to make it not so large. So everything you add in there, you can, it builds up like a palette. So that's really cool. I won't go too much into that. So there's our title for now. And up the top, you have your undo button and redo. So incredibly handy stuff here. Also, you've got fit modes. So you can fit the screen, you can fill the screen. You've got things like cropping, so you can actually take the text. Let's make sure I'm on the text. So you can crop the text. Let's do that. Show you how to do that. And you can pull it in and chop bits out of it. Okay. So you can do the top bit, pull that down. So if you want to finite things, you've got a great load of selections there. So it's really deep, really deep. Plus you've got a blending option down the bottom for fading and stuff like that. For fade outs, that's what you would use this for. In fact, let's do that now. Let's show you this, get this title finished before we get out of this screen. So I want to make this fade in. Okay. Now down the bottom here, you have a timeline. So I've just moved the timeline back to the start. You can slide this along any time of your little section of your clip. And down here, you have these little markers you can add in. Now this is for animation or making things move across the screen or fade outs or anything like that. And what I'm going to do is, so move the actual, so we're back at the start of the timeline, and you click this once and it sets a point. You'll see there's a little point that's been added. Now I want this to about in the middle of the track, so I'm going to move the cursor to there, and I'm going to add another point, and then I'm going to move it to the end of the track and add one more point. Now we'll scroll back to the start. So as you can see here, we're set to have the text showing, but we want it to fade in. So I'm going to pull this down, this opacity bit. I think I did that in the wrong section. Oh. All right, let's do this. So we move right back to the start. So we're right at the back start marker. We're going to pull the opacity down. Then I'm going to click on the middle one and leave that on. And then I'm going to click on the last one, and we're going to pull the opacity back down. So if I play this all the way through, it's going to zoom in and zoom out and fade in and fade out. So that's how we've done a quick fade, and we'll play that again for you. Oops. Did I just delete my markers? I did. Oh no, there they are. So there we go. That's our title just for now. Okay. And we click the little arrow back in the top. I'll show you that again, which is just up here, to go back to our timeline. So that's our title done. Now from here, you can decide how long you want that title to be. I've shown that in the previous video. So there we go. Now we're going to start with the film. Let's see. I'll just get to some questions here. Sorry, I am trying to be quick as usual. Pete, how often do you find yourself using StoryBlocks content? I use it all the time. I use it heaps. Like especially for sound effects, it's invaluable. Like I find it's worth the money. And for just, I don't really use it for backgrounds or anything, but for some small green screen things, definitely. Like I use it all the time. And especially like if you're, so think about when you're using GarageBand and you're using the samples that you get in there. If you just use one preset sample that you get and release that as a song, it's going to get a copyright strike. You know, it's you're using somebody else's material. But with this kind of thing, if you say you use about 20 tiny little green screen effects and pile them all on top of each other and create something completely new out of it, that's how the same process works. I mean, you're paying to use these images. So I use it heaps, definitely. All right, so now that we've got the title, and it's very basic, I know, but we're going to add some sound to it. It's only for a 4-second intro there. We're going to add some clips. And what I'm going to do, because I've got some stuff saved here, this folder I'm in up the top here. This is all the stuff I've imported, created in other apps in iCloud Drive. I'm looking for a photo for an image I made of a green screen of a car. I think I may have already passed it. I had it at the start of the show and it disappeared. There it is. So this image here. So this is a car that I made. It's just a PNG actually. It's not a green screen. So what I'll do is show you both of them. Now I want to drag this into my project because I'm going to be using this car that I made. So I'm going to grab it, slot it in here, and I'm going to put that right next to the title because this is an image that I want to go over the top of the main track. Now I need a background, so I'm now going to look for, I think it's called family. And see, I'm quite organized with my import section. I actually make folders which relate to my projects and name them. It's a good thing to do, trust me. It's incredibly boring, and it's so boring you want to punch yourself in the face while you're doing it, but it's incredibly helpful. If I can find the project called Family. There it is, Family. I think it's Family 1. Right, so I'm going to grab this image here. Now, this is a movie that I made, and if you've seen my other episodes, you will know this image from my movie. Now, here's the fun bit. I mentioned this in last week's show. You'll see over here there's a little arrow in front of this main track. Now, and when I've dragged this image, this video into this scene, it's put it right at the start of the film, and I don't want that. Okay, so when the arrow is pointing to the left, it will always put the image to the start. So it'll put it to the start of where the last block was or to the start of the project. But if you click on it and it's now pointing down, that means you can move it anywhere that you like. So let's just delete it. I'll show you again. So when I drag this in this time, I can put it where I want. There it is. I think I've deleted my car. That was silly. Let's use this car. Let's use this car instead. This one looks more fun. Let's play it. Does it have spinning wheels? This one has spinning wheels, and it has smoke coming out the back. There you go. So now that I've added this image in here, you'll see this is a video clip that I've made. So it's got the sky moving, and I've made the trees move, and I did that all in Pixaloop. So both of these images that I'm adding, I made in Pixaloop. And if you don't know what Pixaloop is, there is a card above my head, so you can go back and check it out. And now I'm going to drag this car in and sit it above the image. And there we go. Now, you will notice each time I add something to the timeline, if I can zoom in far enough, I'll just show you here. There's a little white line sitting there in between these two clips. Now what it does automatically when you bring in files, it locks them together. So they're in place, which is really handy for it to automatically do that. But that's not always what you want. So if you click on one of the files, we'll click on the car, down the bottom here there's a little chain icon. When I click that, it unlinks it. So I can now move this car independently of the track below, but if I click the chain link now, and that didn't work, make sure they're both linked, and it's not working. I love that. Normally that when you've got things together, they will link, and I don't have time to fart around with it. So we've got our title, we've got our car. Now our car is sitting over the top of the image, and it's got this gaudy green screen on it. So what we're going to do is double click on the car, and first we want to get rid of this green screen. So again, like the text, you have these little icons down the bottom. So you've got the frame and fit, which you can change the size and all that stuff, and the cropping and all of that, and fit to screen. In the middle one, it's a bit different than the text section. You've got audio. You've got this is your speed. So you can speed up the clip, you can reverse it, and you can change any audio. You can change the pitch of the audio that's attached to the video clip. Okay, and then on the end, same as the text, you've got all these effects like contrast and all that stuff. And this is where you'll find your green screen effects. So up in the top right hand corner, there's this little lock, and it gives you a whole bunch that are already pre-rendered. So you can see this first one, this is set to green screen. So if I click on that, bang, it automatically gets rid of the green screen. But as you can see, it's taken a bit too much. So we want to like play with this a little to get it looking right. And I'm just going to mess around with it. Look, and it didn't take much. I just moved this back, the hue range, and there it is. It's now solid, and the green has been removed. So now we have a car ready to go over this scene. So the next thing is, we want to click back down here in the bottom left hand corner. We want to change the size of this car. So you can pinch, it's up to you. You can use the sliders to do the very same thing. Let's just bring it down a bit, and we want to put it onto the ground. So we clearly want to make it a bit smaller so it's relative to the fence. We'll try that. And then you can set it where you want it. But the title of this film is The Car Drove By. So essentially all I want to happen in this film is for the car to drive, stop, and keep going. So I'm only showing you this basic technique just to show you how to animate things in this cool app. So what we are going to do, now that it's sitting in the right place on the ground, I could probably bring it down a bit so it's a bit in front of those poles. I'm going to use the slider here. So the X position slider, I can move this back and forward. So we want this out of the screen for the first shot because we're at the beginning of the clip down the bottom here. So it's out of the screen. So once again, here are these little buttons. So I'm going to set these markers. So the first marker, I click it once and it sets the first marker at the beginning of the film. Then I set a marker in the middle of the film. So I put my marker, set my pointer in the timeline down the bottom there. Now I click this little point here, the little plus, to add a new marker, and that's there. I'm going to hit the end to move the marker to the end of the film and add another point there. Now this car's probably going to drive really slow. So here's the thing. Now I'm going to click on this middle marker. As you can see, it's selected, and we want to move the car to about the middle. Now I'm going to click on the end marker, and we're going to move the car all the way to the end. So that's basically it. Now if I hit play, these three markers are going to create this for me, even though it's really slow, but it's a really boring film and it's supposed to build up tension. So as you can see, even with this video of the car that I've got in here, I've animated the wheels to look like they're spinning, but they're a little slow. So let's stop this. And what I want to do is I want to see if we can speed this clip up and see what that does. I have no idea what it will do. Let's have a look. So now when I play it, Hasn't really done much. The wheels are going a bit faster, so let's speed it up a hell of a lot more. Let's do it to about 4. We'll go back to the start. There we go, look at that. The wheels look like they're spinning now. That's pretty cool. So it's going to get to the middle and just keep driving by. And that is the video for the film. There we go, that's done. Now I can click, and once again, let's just click over before I finish. So you have all these effects here. I can change the contrast, the vibrance of the car, all that kind of stuff. The one thing you need to remember if you are altering the effects with something like a green screen image like I've made, when you change the appearance of the color, you'll notice the background in all these previews, the green changes. So then you would have to go back into your chroma key and alter this again to sort out that change, because the background will become visible again. So now we have, so let's tidy this up a bit. We're going to bring this marker to where the car drives off the screen. And now we've selected the main background, and I'm just going to hit cut. So we've cut that out. Now I can delete the end. So that's the whole film right there for now. So we've got our title. We've got the car going. And what else am I going to do? I'm going to click on this title. And down the bottom here, there is this little section here. So this is a duplicate. So I can create a copy. So what I've done now is made a copy. It's added it below. I'm now going to grab this and move it all the way to the end of the clip. Double click on it. And we are going to change the text inside, because we want it to say Finn, because that's the end of the film. So it's kept all those effects as well too, the fade in and fade out. It saves you creating a whole new text. So now we'll just get into adding some effects nice and quickly, and then our film is done. So to do that, you're going to see StoryBlocks in action here. So up in the top left hand corner, click the little folder and you'll see StoryBlocks in there. So what do we want? We want a car. Let's start off with a car. We definitely want some effects. So let's bring up sound effects. Now down here you've got a little magnifying glass. So I'm going to click on that and put car driving, and let's see what we get. Okay, big car driving away, race car, slow car driving on cobblestone. Let's have a listen to that. That sounds cool.
StoryBlocks Audio.
And look how good that is. That goes for 13 seconds, and our clip actually goes for 15. So let's just do it. I'm going to now drag that into the timeline. I'll put it about there. And let's see. Oh, I forgot 2 of them there. There's a nice graphical glitch for you. So it's pretty loud though. So I'm just going to jump out of here. I don't know why there's a little graphical glitch down there, but maybe that's something I need to send to LumaFusion, because it's added this little thing at the back which doesn't exist. How cool is that? So what you'll notice there, that sound is pretty loud. Let's see if I can't fix that. Yeah, that's so we've got 2 versions of it there for some reason. I'm going to delete one. There we go. So they both deleted. How cool was that? Let's try this. Okay, let's zoom in, and I want this sound to be centered about there. Let's move it back a little bit more. That'll do for now. As you'll notice, it's a bit loud. So over here on your left, you've got your volume. So I can pull that back. Doesn't match up perfectly, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to do here. Also, what else do we want? I want we want some background noise. So outside, what do we get from that? Outside hospital, outside ambience. Let's just see what we get. Rain outside, suburb walking ambience. Let's have a listen to that. It's probably someone walking.
StoryBlocks Audio.
Suburban. Let's try this. There we go. So I'm going to drag this into the timeline as well underneath. Okay, we'll turn that down a bit, so we'll pull that below. Let's have a listen and a play. Cool. Cut off a bit there. But, you know, we're rushing through this, so but you get what I'm trying to do. Then let's just add at the start, let's find some spooky kind of music. So I'm going to go to back here to StoryBlocks. I'm going to click on music, and I'm just going to put in scary, and we'll see what we get. Eventually it's going to load. So I'm going to click on the magnifying glass again. Scary. The occult. So we only want something short as well. Let's see what this is. Cool, I reckon we're going to add that
StoryBlocks Audio.
just for the sake of it. So down the bottom here, I'm going to add this. So you get 6 audio tracks and 6 video tracks. So you can see there's plenty of room to add stuff. Now this is downloading that file because it's, as you can see, the progress when you add a file from StoryBlocks. Over here, it's actually downloading the media. Once it's downloaded, I showed this in the last episode, but I'll show you again. In StoryBlocks, it creates a folder right down the bottom as it takes its time. La la la. And maybe it's not going to, there we go. So StoryBlocks, it creates a folder down the bottom of downloaded media. So you've got all your media that you add to a timeline, all gets saved there. So let's have a look at this film. We'll go full screen and I'll just pull down the volume of that, the music. Let's see what it looks like. Well, that's no good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop this audio. Let's do this. I'm going to bring this back to the start. Let's see how that sounds. Cool. So let's do this now. You know what? I couldn't even hear my car. Let's hear that. So we'll do it one more time, then we'll close out the show. Enjoy. So there you go. That is a very, very, as fast as I can. And look, we're at 42 minutes again, always. 42, I've got to change it to 42. That is just a quick look at how you can very, very quickly add other images, other videos, using Storyblocks, using green screen images, using the vast array of effects and music that is in the subscription that you get with Storyblocks in LumaFusion to create something really cool. And, you know, I'm just farting around very quickly. And you all know that because you're all here. So that's it for that. I'm probably going to do another little something on this maybe this week as well, because we're giving away this. So if you do want to win a copy of this app, make sure you leave a comment on this exact video. And at the end of the week, we'll be taking all the names and running the random number generator to do what we do and give away one of these apps, because that's what I like to do for you all. So I hope this has just given you another brief look at how to quickly wax something together, especially animation. As you can see, really good for making video clips, movies, whatever you want to make. It's a fantastic app, and there's so much more to dive into because it is so incredible. But that is the end of the show for today. I think we're going to look a little bit more at Aurea Pro this week, so stay tuned for that. I'm still not sure. I'm still deciding. And cool. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Please, as usual, you can do all the liking, sharing, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. You can find me on Facebook. And with that, I will all leave you for the day, and I hope you all have a fantastic day ahead, and I will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. So until then, stay making music, stay creating, stay rocking, and stay gangsta, man, because I'm going to go for a walk now. Adios.